All right, please be seated. Sir, you can stand up. Remain standing, please. Why don't you identify the witness and then I'll swear him. Sir, would you state your name? Martise Nunnery. All right, sir, please raise your right hand. I do. You can have a seat and you can take your mask off. Why don't you wait a minute while everyone puts their transcripts in their binders? Yes, Your Honor. Seem to be okay, Your Honor? You may proceed. Thank you. Sir, again, your name? Martise Nunnery. Would you spell your last name? Nunnery. So, Mr. Nunnery, I know it may not be comfortable, but I'm going to ask you to lean in as much as you can during your testimony so we can hear everything you say into that microphone. Either that or pull the mic out a little closer to you. If you can move the chair a little closer, that's fine too. It's not on wheels, but you got to... All right, great. Proceed. Thank you. Mr. Nunnery, are you a convicted felon? Yes. What have you been convicted of? A first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder and solicitation of murder. Were those offenses all in one case? Yes. Who did the murder relate to? Rudy Rangel. Did he have a nickname? Kato. Approximately when was that murder? It happened in June of 2003. And with respect to the murder of Mr. Rangel, did you plead guilty or did you go to trial? No, I went to trial. Were you tried alone? Yes. And were you found guilty? Yes. Was that in state court or was that in federal court? In state court. So not in this building? No. Were you charged with other persons? Yes. Who else was charged with you for the murder of Mr. Rangel? Donnell Simmons, Labar Spann, and John Coleman. But again, you went to trial alone? Yes. Have you been sentenced? Yes. When was the trial, Mr. Nunnery? In August of 2007. And you said you have been sentenced? Yes. What sentence did you receive? 36 years. And do you have to serve the entire sentence? Do you have to serve 50%? Do you have to serve 85%? The entire sentence. 100%? Yeah. How long have you been in custody, Mr. Nunnery? Since November 14th, 2003. And is that when you were arrested for the murder of Mr. Rangel? Yes. And you have not been out since then? No. Sir, are you currently serving your sentence for the murder of Mr. Rangel? Yes. And you're currently in prison? Yes. Are you in the Illinois Department of Corrections? Yes. Mr. Nunnery, after you were convicted, did you agree to cooperate with the federal government? Yes. Was that in May of 2016 about? Yes. Again, that was about 10 years after you were convicted? Yes. And as part of that cooperation, did you testify in the grand jury? Yes. Was that in or around February of 2017? Yes. Sounds about right? Yes. And Mr. Nunnery, you said that you were convicted of the murder of Mr. Rangel in state court? Yes. I was not involved in that case, was I? No. Now, Mr. Nunnery, with respect to your testimony today, have you been granted immunity? Yes. What do you understand that to mean? That as long as I tell the truth, that I wouldn't be prosecuted. You won't be prosecuted again? Again, yeah. So do you understand that the words you say cannot be used against you so long as you tell the truth? Yes. Do you understand what happens if it's determined you lie? Yes. What happens? That I could be prosecuted for perjury. So those words can be used against you? Yeah, yes. And to be clear, you're testifying here today about the murder of Rudy Rangel? Yes. And have you been convicted of the murder of Rudy Rangel in state court? Yes. Are you serving a sentence for that conviction? Yes. And that all occurred in the Cook County courts? Yes. Mr. Nunnery, you're serving that 36-year sentence. You served about half, is that right? Yes. Has anyone from my office promised you that your sentence will be reduced? No. Have I promised you your sentence will be reduced? No. Are you hoping that your sentence will be reduced? Yeah. Is that part of why you're here today? Yes. Are you hoping that the state's attorney considers your testimony and your cooperation? Yes. And when I say state's attorney, I'm referring to Cook County? Yes. Not my office. Exactly. Do you understand that I do not control your sentence? Yes. Do you understand that Judge Durkin does not control your sentence? Yes. Do you understand that the judge who sentenced you in the Cook County courts will ultimately determine if your sentence is reduced at all? Yes. And do you understand that judge may refuse to lower your sentence no matter what you do here today? Yes. Mr. Nunnery, I'd like to ask you some questions about your background. Okay. What city were you born in, sir? Chicago. Where in Chicago? On the west side of Chicago. And how old are you right now? 44. What neighborhood did you grow up in? The Austin community. Which streets about? Monroe and Lotus. How long did you live in the area of Monroe and Lotus? Since probably 84, 83 or 84. So since 83 or 84? Yeah, up until 2003. When you were arrested? Yeah. Where did you go to high school, Mr. Nunnery? Austin. And did you graduate? No. Have you completed your equivalency? Yes. When did you get that? I completed my GED since I've been incarcerated. In the Illinois Department of Corrections? Yes. Mr. Nunnery, have you associated with a street gang in your past? Yes. Which gang? Unknown vice lords. Now, did you start with a different gang? Yes. Which gang did you start with? Four Corner Hustlers. How old were you when you started with the Four Corner Hustlers? Around 9 years old. So were you just kind of a kid running around with other kids? Yeah. Did you do anything related to the gang at 9 years old? Nah, not really. When did you join the unknown vice lords? At the age of 13. Why did you join the unknown vice lords? Because all the guys that I hung with were unknowns at the time. Who were some of those guys? A few of the guys that I grew up with. In the area of Monroe? Yeah. As a young man with the unknown vice lords, what did you do? I sold drugs. Sold drugs. Was it some illegal activity and some just socializing? Yeah. At a certain point, Mr. Nunnery, did you ever hold any rank in the unknown vice lords? Yes. What rank did you hold? I was a 5-star universal elite. And I'm sorry. God bless you. Someone sneezed. If you would repeat that? I was a 5-star universal elite. What does that mean to be a 5-star universal elite? That had some say-so. What do you mean by say-so? I can control certain things. Such as? Just the day-to-day happenings of the organization. Did this rank affect your ability to sell drugs? Yes. In what way? It gave me the ability to go different places. And sell drugs? Yeah. And when I say sell drugs, when you were a person with rank, were you standing on the corner handing out bags? No. What were you doing? Well, I basically supplied the drugs. So you were the person who provided the drugs to people on the block? Yes. Did having rank allow you to cross gang lines? Yes. In what way? It allowed me to interact with different gangs. Would it allow you to supply drugs to other gangs? Yes. Did you associate with other gangs? Yes. Which other gangs did you associate with? Four Corner Hustlers, CVLs, Travelers, and Latin Kings. So you said the Four Corner Hustlers and the CVLs. Who are the CVLs? Conservative vice lords. And you were an unknown vice lord? Yes. And then you said TVLs. Who are the TVLs? Or the Travelers, excuse me. Traveler vice lords. All under the umbrella of vice lords? Yes. And did you provide drugs to some members of this gang? Yes. Now, in addition to this illegal activity, did you also work before you were arrested? Yes. What did you do? Well, I made clothes and custom rugs. I also worked at a phone shop. Would you sell the clothes and the rugs? Yes. Where was the phone shop you worked at? On North Avenue in Kilpatrick. Mr. Nunnery, a few more questions about selling drugs. Can you put a time frame on when you sold drugs? From when to when? Probably 12 to 26. Is that when you went in custody? Yes. What types of drugs did you sell? Cocaine, heroin, marijuana. Did you have a spot or a location where you sold drugs? Yes. Where was that spot? 15th and Christiana. And where is that in Chicago? It was out west, on the west side. Now, you said you associated with other gangs, including Four Corner Hustlers? Yes. Do you know a person named Labar Spann? Yes. And do you see that person you know in the courtroom? Yes. Would you please indicate where he is sitting and an article of clothing he is wearing? The guy sitting over there in the wheelchair with the blanket on. Your Honor, let the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant, Mr. Spann. It will.